Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu Mavid Vishavahe Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The Katha Upanishad. Today we proceed with the nature of spiritual experience. We had commenced with some of these mantras which showed us the connection between the individual and the Supreme Soul. That's important. We had done the seventh one last Wednesday, and leaving it at the rest of the mantras, 8th and 9th, and as well as even the 10th, will speak of the same subject matter in that very strain. We take up the 8th mantra, the second part of the Kathopanishad 2, section 1 and 8th verse. The sacrificial wood. I will take the Sanskrit, it comes much clearer for me. Aranyornihito jata veda garva iva suvrito garbinebhi dive diva idyo jagrivadbir avishmadbir manushya biragni etad vaitat. So etad vaitat, this is that. What self that Nachiketa was inquiring. It is being repeatedly being demonstrated from different angles. So the translation is the sacrificial fire, or just a fire, lodged in the two fire-producing pieces of wood that is well protected just as much as a fetus is by a pregnant woman. And the fire that is adorable every day by vigilant people with oblations and contemplation. That fire too is but this Brahman. One of the viewers had said, yes, these are kind of a little difficult verses. Let me put it like this, in the perspective of this morning, a Swami was talking about another Swami, saying, well, you see, that Swami had a vision of this and that and this and that. Yeah, you're kind of patiently listening to this. But according to Vedanta, that's a much, much lower spiritual experience. The real experience, what is experiencing what? We are trying to experience, we want to experience reality. And the lowest rung of this spiritual realization of the reality is this: a little sensations of kind of a joy in your body, a little horripilation, and a little tears roll down your cheeks, and your voice chokes, and there's a horripilation. These are some of the signs that kind of are indicative of devotion. And a little kind of higher is, uh, you have a kind of a vision of deities. But according to Vedanta, as I mentioned, the realization culminates, all these small grades of realization culminate in what is called the oneness between the individual and the universal reality, the universal soul. The individual soul and the universal soul are one. When you get this realization, this is realization. Many people say, oh, you see, I've got an awakening of this, and I've got a this, and I dream about this, and I can't do this particular thing. Kind of various manifestations. These may be milestones on the way to the realization of the individual soul as embedded or part of the universal soul. Now, when I say soul, it means that individual reality, your reality, is actually a part of that universal reality. So you'll say, which is more real? There are people who say, which is more real? Me, this individual reality, or no? The reality is that universal reality. It as if appears as individual souls. So our realization is that universal reality. And in order to lead us on to this correct understanding of realization, these verses are presented. Sometimes it's called the firstborn. The firstborn? Uh, Yeah, that's, as we mentioned, it is Hiranyagarbha. In a previous video, you said firstborn. There are words used as prana, as tapasa, as aditi. What does it all mean? They are different names of that same entity. In this verse, again, we have another kind of name or nomenclature or designation for that reality. If you realize, saying that reality, where's that reality? Do I need to go somewhere out there in that universal space? No, that universal reality has entered, as it were, in your own being, in your own heart. This is important because you don't need to have a spiritual experience. The nature of spiritual experience is that universal being, and that universal being is within you. This is the difference between Vedanta, Hinduism, and other religions. You don't have to go outside of yourself in another place, another location, in another stage, or another kind of whatever you would like, plane, to realize the real nature of reality. It is there within you, within each and every one. And the first, you can say, step in understanding Vedanta is this: that universal reality which we are talking about, which we want to realize, is within you, has entered, as it were, within you. And the last few verses, they were saying, who is seated in the cavity of the heart after entering there. In this verse also, that fire is that Brahman which, as it were, has entered inside there within you. Now the we have another kind of illustration. This verse ties a lot of kind of loose threads, as it were, from the previous section as well as the middle section into this kind of uh, clarity. First is the sacrificial fire lodged in the two fire producing pieces of wood. Aranyor Nihito Jataveda. The Jataveda is translated as fire. Fire is called Jataveda. Now, Jataveda, one Veda, one who knows the birth of every being. Well, fire? Yeah, fire is one of those early deities. So, one who knows the birth. Birth of what? Birth of everything. All everything. So, that fire is called Jataveda. Okay. Where is that fire lodged? Obviously, within. Within, we'll come down to it. We'll use the other side of the, you can say, equation or illustration. Here, the Upanishad gives us like fire lodged, the sacrificial fire lodged in two pieces of wood, arani. In the old days, even before, you can say, flint, of course, was discovered. Our ancestors, millions and million years ago, they used to use two flint stones to generate sparks, and that they used to kind of have some combustible material there near the where the sparks fall, and then it used to ignite. Even the English word ignite is comes from that indana, you know, Sanskrit word. So they had learned the art of producing fire by seeing fire everywhere. There were kind of volcanoes and there were lightning strikes, this, that, whatever. Well, they say that the when humankind learned how to really cook their food, evolution kick-started there, in a sense, in a big way. It was going on, but then we could digest food quickly without wasting so much of energy, and we never needed to eat the whole day, etc., whatever. And that helped us grow our brains and language and whatever, the rest of the things. In the Vedic age, they knew that every object had something called fire. So, take for example, two pieces of wood, when rubbed together, would also produce something called heat by friction. And they used to start with rubbing the two pieces of wood, the upper and the lower pieces of wood. And only that fire could be used to ignite the the sacrificial, sacrificial, you can say, kunda, that is the place where the fire wood has been placed. So first you ignite by rubbing, and they used to kind of tie the two strings together and use a kind of another string to whirl it round and round and round, and that used to kind of have a friction, and that friction used to produce that sparks of fire, and the sacrificial, you can say, fire was lit by that method. All homas, all yajnas were like that. So that this was a practice that was being carried on for thousands and thousands of years. So, like fire hidden in that those pieces of wood. Okay, so this is clear. Now, fire is, as I say, Jata Veda, one who knows the birth. That fire is also is within us. how it is, as it were, that sacrifice which is outside, which was later internalized. Because every aspect of religion has, you can say, two dimensions. One is the external, one is the internal. The sacrifice which is performed outside is incomplete without its complement of meditation within. Otherwise, it's just half done. If you keep on repeating all the mantras and you do all the rituals perfectly, that is, pouring the oblations in the fire, you're doing it half when you do it without meditation. So, your meditation is important in every ritual. Every ritual, even today's puja, it appears external, but it is partly external and fully internal. So, that fire there within us, which we have internalized, that is kind of ignited by who? By people of contemplation, by the munis, by the sages who meditate. They, as it were, take the higher aspect of the mind and lower aspect of the mind and kind of rub it, which is meditation in a way, and that sparks, that it ignites, it purifies the mind, and in that purified mind, like fire is a great purifier also. Fire is a destroyer of impurities. So all the impurities inside are burnt. And in that pure mind, one gets the vision of reality. So here it is the sacrificial fire lodged in the two fire producing pieces of wood. This is clear. As also the fire lodged in the hearts of yogis. There it is. Well, yogis, yes. If Nachiketa, in his initial, you can say, inquiry about how to attain the higher realms, in his second boon, was told that this acquisition of this higher worlds can be had through a particular sacrifice. And that sacrifice became the Nachiketa sacrifice, which was named after him, which Nachiketa learned it from the god of death. And, and the god of death had said, that fire which is used for that sacrifice, which can lead you to higher realms, is lodged in the intellect of the enlightened people. Well, how is that? Vidhi tamekham nihitam guhayam. Until and unless it does not spark here, until and unless the major part of the ritual, which is internal, is not performed, performing that external ritual is kind of really not good enough. So there Shankaracharya had said that the state of Hiranyagarbha, the state of that universal reality, can be reached by that fire which is in the minds or the intellect of the enlightened people. The real fire is lodged there. And here we have like fire hidden in the two pieces of wood and can come out only after friction. So similarly, the fire which is there within us, that Jata Veda, that who knows everything, is in the hearts of the yogis. Okay. This is getting a little difficult. I think, is it okay? Yeah. So remember external fire and internal fire. External fire is a fire by the sacrifices. Another complement of that sacrifice is the internal. That sacrificer is the yogi, and that the meditation is the friction that sparks that fire within. And this fire is well protected. In the old days, that sacrificial fire had to be well protected externally. And even, these old Zoroastrians, the Parsis, when they first came to India to escape this kind of, or to save their religion from being swamped by other kind of invaders, they came to India with their fire. They brought their fire. That was kind of the sacred fire. That this fire is not any kind of fire. It's a sacred fire, and they bought it. That's why they are called. Those temples are called Agyari, Agni, fire temples. So most of these ancient civilizations were worshippers of the fire, sun worshippers. You will find it in a couple of, I think, the next verse, the sun also. Yeah, so it's very strange. Most of these they worship fire, worship sun. So they used to protect that sacred fire. The ancient, you can say, Aryans there, they used to protect that fire, sacrifice, because they used to use part of that fire to light up every day, two times, morning and evening, that yajna, the sacrifice. The same way, every morning and evening, we've got to meditate. Yeah. Do we have to meditate? Yeah. Why? It is as it were you are protecting through your meditation that fire within. External and internal. External fire and internal fire. Well, does it burn you? Yeah, it might burn all. It burns all your impurities. Fire is a kind of used symbolically, and it is protected. How is it protected? Carefully. The illustration given is like a fetus is well protected by the woman who's pregnant with the fetus, with the child. And what does a woman do? When the woman is pregnant, the commentator Shankaracharya says she will be careful of what she eats and drinks and what she even thinks, because there's a prenatal influence of the, we can say, mother on the fetus. So the mother protects it, the fetus. It's covered, of course, completely from harm. It's like completely covered, and it is now protected by correct eating and drinking and thinking, and there's no kind of a regulated life, a life of of a spiritual person. Then the child which is born will be a spiritual, but that's a different topic, of course. Here it is that fire is well protected, like a fetus of a pregnant woman. So this fire, yeah, the rest of the verse says, and the fire that is adorable every day by vigilant people with oblations outside and contemplation inside. It is adorable. If you say, oh, this is fire, when we have our sacrificial fires here, called Homa, this ordinary fire is transformed into the fire called Ram Krishna. We have Ram Krishna as a picture. We have Ram Krishna's life. Yes, that is one aspect of it. Another aspect of Ram Krishna is that fire. The sacrificial fire is now Ramakrishna. Got this? That's important. So that sacred fire has got a whole new dimension that has to be protected. How? By vigilance. The word used is Jagratpadvi, those who are awake, those who are vigilant. We have to be vigilant, we have to be careful while performing a sacrifice outside and vigilant when we perform meditation inside. There's a saying, eternal vigilance is a price for freedom. So eternal vigilance is the price for perfection. So you want to be perfect, be eternally vigilant. So when we are offering oblations outside, we have got to be vigilant. When we are meditating on that same aspect of that fire internally, with meditation, we've got to be vigilant.
Vigilant regarding what?
Let your mind not stray from here and there, from that act of meditation or from the act of sacrifice. Or you are performing a sacrifice and thinking of something else. There was a kind of a story, no, not story, kind of a incident in the life of Guru Nanak. He was a founder of Sikhism. Sikhism is a kind of a there was, in order to protect the mother religion, there was a kind of a movement by a certain class of people. They took the vow of protecting. So there was Guru Nanak was going on some place, and he happens, and he was in a kind of a different contemplative mood. He happens to stumble uh, and kind of hit his foot on a person who was praying, who was doing the namaz, a Muslim. And the mullah, the priest, got so annoyed at Guru Nanak, he took him to court and dragged him to the judge and said, I was praying here, and this guy trampled over me. So the judge asked him, did you do that? Do you know that he was praying? Yes, I did trample because I never saw that he was there bowing and praying. But he wasn't praying. What do you mean? I was there performing those rituals, those gestures. So the judge asked, what did he mean? You weren't praying? He was thinking of his chickens. So the judge asked that, well, is it true? While praying, you were thinking of your chickens? The mullah was honestly saying, yes, there. So we are praying, we are doing things, okay, but our minds are somewhere else. And that is why externally, I sometimes look at people and say, pretending to meditate is pretending to do this. You don't need to pretend. You need to meditate. You don't need to pretend to meditate. That's very important because pretense is not going to let you get you anywhere. That's the reason why this word it's qualified by the word vigilant. So when you're vigilant with oblations, vigilant while you're meditating, this fire, what is this fire? This fire is, we're talking fire. That fire is Brahman. That fire is Brahman in what form? In the form of that firstborn Hiranyagarbha. It has also been called as Aditi in the previous verse. It has also been called Prana. Ya pranena sambhavati prana. It is also called tapas. It is also, in this case, it is called the Arani. Okay. That reality which is external and which is also internal is one. Here, the symbol of fire is used. Symbol of what? Symbol of that reality, fire, Jata Veda. It's not just fire. When you're meditating internally, you're meditating on the reality. And when you're using all the implements for a sacrifice externally, you are actually worshipping that reality. You're not worshipping that ordinary, mundane fire in a kind of a pit, fire pit, with all these oblations of ghee and milk, etc. You are worshipping this higher reality. There is also the Upanishads speak about karma, that's the sacrifice outside, and upasana, the meditation inside. There's a samuchaya. There's many sages and saints have spoken about the kind of samuchaya, that is the correspondence between external and internal. Okay, some commentators say, oh, the Vedas speak about the combination of rites and meditation. This is one example of the combination of rites and meditation, yajna and upasana, meditation. Now, Shankaracharya is very clear that this form of meditation, what it does, it purifies you. If you do not want to attain the limited results of this karma and this meditation, you will get the stage of, as they say, Hiranyagarbha. In a yeah, it's not Hiranyagarbha, but it's higher reality. If you do it with the idea of a reward, getting some reward from this, some desire behind these acts. If you don't do it without any desire, without seeking reward, what it does is this karma and this meditation, karma and upasana meditation, they sync and it purifies the mind. And in this purified mind, you will get this reality, this experience of the reality inside. And when you have the reality experienced inside, you will simultaneously experience that reality outside also. So it is, if you do this karma, sacrifice, and upasana, meditation, without desire, but just to attain the highest goal, one gets the realization of Hiranyagarbha. So I think this is more or less clear, because we will see the next verse. It's important because the next verse also carries forward idea of realization. Realization, as we mentioned, the experience, the nature of experiences, not visions and not the small tiltillations in the spinal cord, in some nerves, and somebody says, I touched this and I got a shock, and I saw this and I kind of felt transported. These are very kind of very low grade of, you can say, experiences. Real experiences, that reality is one, inside and outside. So it's not two, inside and outside, it's one. That reality is appearing as it were inside and outside. What's the name of that reality? That reality is Hiranyagarbha. Yes, this whole thing. Yeah. We have seen that this universe has been, you can say, born out of Hiranyagarbha. Yeah. Hiranyagarbha is the cause, or the causal body, subtle body of this world. don't get confused about this subtle and causal analysis. The sum total of everything in this universe, let's put it, has come from Hiranyagarbha, has arisen from Hiranyagarbha. What is Hiranyagarbha? Don't get bogged down with even these kind of words. The cosmic person, the cosmic reality, the macrocosmic reality, rather, if it could go like that. So, what is this? Does it has hands and feet and legs? Your hands and your feet and your legs and your eyes and your everything is that reality, which is which is that. So all our limbs and all our existence and all our minds and all our thoughts, etc., and everything are embedded in that reality. So that cosmic person is not a person in the sense of we are a person. That person is a collective, the subtotal of every living being. Every living being, that means not only the human beings. We think it's a human world. And we want a God also to be human like us. That's a mistake. And that is what Vedanta has kind of avoided the mistake from the very beginning. If you feel you're a human world, in a human world, the whole world is meant for me, and my God also has to be human. Why can't God be the sum total of all souls, which God is? This is this this is that reality, and this is experienced where? Here. Vidhi tametam nihitam guhaya. Here it is, as it were, it has entered here. You can realize it here. This is that self, etad vaitad, which Nachiketa was inquiring about. And this Upanishad is constantly now hammering it inside. Our realization, a little dream and a little small vision, like I mentioned in the beginning, is not good enough. You will still have your likes and dislikes, your anger and hatred and jealousies and all this lust and greed and all these things. It won't be powerful enough to break that old crystallized, you can say, way of thinking. Yeah, that's what. So you need something strong to break those old crystallized versions of your own thought patterns.
What is that strong thing?
This is the realization of that entity which is both internal and outside, internal and external. It's only at that level when ignorance, ajnana or maya moves away or is eradicated or is destroyed. Small titillations, small experiences of spiritual experiences are not going to do anything. It's not going to eradicate your ignorance. It might, in a kind of a microscopic way, little. Oh yeah, and I got this. And you know what happens? You get a small vision, and you tell 20 people, I got a vision. And those 20 people tell another 100 people, that guy has got a vision. And there it has become. You've now become famous. What? You've got a vision. You are almost the same like you were before the vision and after the vision. There has been no qualitative change there within you. That is the eradication of ignorance and the rise of knowledge. That is the test. You will realize moksha. That is, you will become free. So, this is how the Upanishad is telling us that which is inside and outside is one. You are actually embedded in this reality. So, where do I run about trying to get this whole thing? This experience, the nature of experience. Well, plunge deep into your heart And you will find there that where the individual, as it were, intersects with the cosmic. And how? See, we have different levels of, you can say, levels of consciousness. That is spoken in the figurative language of lotuses or chakras. From the lowest Muladhara and Swadhisthana and Manipura and Anahata and Vishuddha and Agnya. What are those kind of lotuses? People say, yeah, we must awaken them. Awaken, good to awaken them. You don't know what they are? They are not just kind of chakras and lotuses. It is these are the planes, the the universal plane intersects with the individual plane there. So when your consciousness rises at that level, you will experience that reality, that universal reality on that level of consciousness. Sri Ramakrishna says, when the mind, where the consciousness is on the three lower levels, you will see reality as this world. You don't say, I have nothing to do with this world. I am not of this world. No, the moment you say I, you are part of this world. There's you can't separate the two things. If you consider yourself as a body and you feel yourself as a body, you dream yourself as a body, you're going to experience this world as this world outside. So this level of consciousness is at this, the lowest, where the universal and the individual intersect. Now, if their level of consciousness rises higher, this universe that you see, that you experience, so this reality you experience, will change its form. You will see a higher aspect of that reality, that one reality, a higher aspect. Then you go even higher, and then you will see that reality in a higher aspect. Why? Because these are the planes. Like this is the heart chakra, heart lotus. Well, it is here that the individual and the cosmic merge, their meeting point. It is that's why it's called Hridaya Granthi, the knot where the two planes intersect. The moment you transcend this plane, wow, you see this reality. See, you don't have to go to heaven or you don't need to go to any kind of temples or anything or churches to get this. This is the reality. Where will you go to see this reality? So the moment you transcend this level of reality, you're getting a higher vision of this. This is not this vision of the reality is not exhaustive. This is the lower grade of reality, seen from the lowest kind of level of consciousness. This changes the moment you start rising higher and higher and higher. There you will find the individual and cosmic planes intersecting, and you will get those corresponding experiences. So, to recap, this is the lowest grade of reality we are experiencing right now. It is real right now to us. Why? Because our level of consciousness is on the lowest three levels. And the body, you feel yourself as the body will experience this world. You will not experience a higher aspect of that reality. And as you keep on ascending higher and higher, that is, as your consciousness keeps on ascending higher and higher and higher, this same reality will be experienced in us. It's like You are now sitting in a plane, and you see the tarmac, you see the plane also, and you see you can say the buildings and the hangar. Then the plane takes off. Then you can say fly above the airfield and the airport, and then as you keep on flying higher and higher, you're not going to see that airfield and airport and all those things. It has become so small. Your vision will correspondingly change the moment you go higher and higher and higher and higher. So, was that wrong? No, it wasn't wrong. It was necessary for you to take off. So, take off from there. So, Sri Ramakrishna also says when you go higher and higher and higher, people they appear like ants. When he went to that Octonally Memorial in Calcutta, Kolkata. So, when you see people at this level, you see people, oh, yeah, the higher you go, they will appear small and ants. And higher you go, well, it always what about this human race? Yeah, as we keep on going higher and higher, go to some of these kind of international space station, you'll have a different view of Earth. You go to the moon, you'll have a different view of the Earth. Is am I seeing this Earth? Is it like this? Yeah, you're seeing the Earth. Yeah, it's so similarly, as you keep on ascending on the different levels of consciousness, you will see this reality appear different. That is the nature of it. And where does it culminate? In Hiranyagarbha. It in that cosmic person, as that cosmic person is. And how will you experience that? I am verily that. As this verse of Eighth Advaita, this is verily that. You will get that experience. And this is verily that. This is verily that. This and that are one. And you'll take the form of it is that Brahman. You will experience that Brahman. So this is the nature of experience. We will read the 9th verse. We will take this up, of course, next Wednesday. Yataschodeti suryostam yatra sagacchati tam deva sarva arpitas tadunatyeti kaschana. Etadvaita. This is that. This is that reality that Nachiketa was asking. So you'll say, okay, Hiranyagarbha and like that manifested Brahman. We can understand that. Is there something higher than that? You'll say, there is nothing higher than this. Oh, really? Yes, this is the ultimate. This is the final experience. Huh? Well, so here he's saying, on that in the sense, within that reality from which the sun rises and into which it sets. Sun rises? Well, the sun is symbolically spoken. It symbolizes the entire creation. In the previous verse, the symbol used was fire. Now they're using a different symbol, sun. Like the entire creation, which rises and sets. They're using the illustration of a sun because the sun rises and the sun sets. The whole creation rises and the whole creation sets. Into what? Into that very thing. And into which all the deities are fixed. Everything inside are fixed. Like I mentioned, I used the word embedded. Everything is embedded. Everything arises from that and merges into that. None ever transcends that. Nothing else, not your experience, nothing transcends it. No other gods. All gods are embedded in this. Gods, the millions and millions of gods outside, inside. The whole of creation arises and merges there in that. Like the sun rising and the sun setting. This is that reality. This is that reality. So, on that, like the commentator Shankaracharya says, like the spokes that he can say come out of that hub, the central hub. So, similarly, everything else arises from that hub and is fixed into that. None else transcends, nothing else transcended. No, you see, my God is greater than that. No, it cannot be. It is this, nothing transcends, nothing. And our experiences also culminate here. This is that supreme state of Vishnu, Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam. So we will discuss this with a little more elaboration the next time. And then, yeah, we can stop now for today. I hope it wasn't too heavy. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.
Thank you, Swami.